Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samueli. With me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle. So, Peter, we've talked in the past a number of times about the Balkans, particularly about Serbia and the Republika Srpska in the Bosnia-Herzegovina, and in the context that this is unfinished business as far as NATO is concerned. That here are these two pockets of non-NATO land.
Resistance.
Exactly. And, who tend to be kind of pro-Russian. And so therefore they have been the ongoing target of, quite vicious, hateful campaign from NATO. So ever since the 90s, NATO's attitude has been, this is unfinished business. We didn't deal fully with the Serbs. Now, we talked about Kosovo, particularly. We thought that NATO was trying to provoke something in Kosovo, but now we're getting the first signs of a color revolution in Serbia. What happened was, in about a week or so ago, a 13-year-old boy went to a school and shot, I think, 8 children. Horrific story. And then the next day, there was another kind of mass shooting. Here was a 21-year-old young man just went on a random shooting spree. So, these are tragic happenings. But somehow this triggered mass demonstrations in Belgrade, in which somehow targeted Vučić. That somehow Serbia was a very violent place, and it was Vučić's fault that it was a violent place. And this is very, very strange. I mean, Serbia is among the poorest countries in Europe, terrible economic conditions. You barely get any demonstrations about that. Even Kosovo, you don't get big demonstrations about what's going on in Kosovo. Suddenly you had tens of thousands demonstrating about something so nebulous as violence. I mean,
and all of those posters and banners, they just appear out of thin air.
Out of nowhere.
You know that.
Out of nowhere. That's right. And so now we've had, I think the education minister has resigned, and now there's a demand that the interior minister should resign. And in the meantime, you have the European Parliament just issued a report, very hostile to Serbia, and demanding that Serbia recognize Kosovo and get with the EU program on Russia. And then the other day, the New York Times ran something like a 10,000-word article exclusively about Vučić, how Vučić is basically a soccer hooligan, he's in with organized crime, and of course, horror upon horrors, he is the link to the nightmare Milosevic is in the 1990s.
That article just was written in one night, first draft, No, it wasn't mined for weeks and weeks, and
exactly.
Put in the vault there, wait, put the last little touch on there, roll it, okay?
That's right.
That's how it works.
That's right. And so given these demonstrations, so we've now had 2 very big demonstrations in Belgrade, and Vučić, he's not the strongest sort of individuals, huge man, but there's no correlation between his size and his courage. He's already indicated that he might step down as president, and he's indicated that he's going to hold elections in September. It seems to me that the NATO gang think they've got Vučić on the run, so expect more and more and bigger demonstrations in Belgrade.
When you agree to elections,
exactly,
your bells and lights should start going off. Okay,
that's right.
That's one of the hallmarks or earmarks. I don't know why they say earmark. Hallmarks of impending regime change. Then there's an election. Fraud. Okay,
that's right.
They tried it with Yanukovych, and he fell for it, and you see what happened to him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's really interesting that George is talking about a colored revolution, because this is where it all began. Okay, this is like season 2 of a Netflix series. Okay, except for 20 years later.
Exactly, you're absolutely right. It happened here, October 2000, the first of the color revolutions. They toppled Milosevic, and then immediately bundled him off to The Hague, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. So, Vucic, he had been part of the sort of the right-wing kind of radical party of Serbia. He had supported Milosevic. And the reason why, the Americans wanted him in power is they thought this could be a kind of a Nixon goes to China moment, that he, because he's kind of on the right, he'd be happy to sign off on Kosovo. And I think Vucic probably would have done so, but the Serbian people just wouldn't agree to it. So he's going to be constantly thinking, well, we're going to do this and going to that. But every time he's on the brink of just surrendering on Kosovo, people don't like it. So now I think they've decided we'll get rid of Vucic and then replace him with, one of these puppets. And guess what this puppet regime will do immediately? They'll surrender Kosovo and join in the sanctions regime on Russia.
This is the moment of inflection. Okay, they feel like they have the momentum with the European Union, and it won't stay forever. There's events change on the ground. This is a time to finally finish unfinished business, as George and I have said repeatedly when it comes to Serbia. This is the NATO lands opportunity. I mean, then this shows you the level of moral emptiness. You take two tragic shootings for reasons I don't know about, okay? But you conflate it. It's all about Kosovo. There's a leap of faith that I'm not really sure I can
exactly. There isn't any. That's what's so extraordinary about this, and why this is a color revolution, is that even in America, nobody says that a mass shooting is the fault of the president. No one actually can say, this is Trump's fault. Well, I mean, actually, they did come close to saying that, but
no, but they never blame the regime.
Exactly, but in the case of a horrific story like a 13-year-old boy going off on a shooting spree, how can you blame that on the president? I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all, other than you have a political agenda. You stir up people's emotions. Everybody obviously gets emotional about children getting killed, and then there's another mass shooting, and somehow it's the government. It's Vucic's fault.
Come on, George. It's simple. Serbia should recognize Kosovo, let it go into NATO. If the European Union wants it, let them have it. And there will never be another shooting in Serbia.
That's right. It will never happen again.
Problem solved.
Yeah, but it's kind of really interesting. I mean, imagine it's so disgusting using tragedies like this in such a cynical fashion. But it's very interesting. Everything is always ready to go. Like this New York Times story. Boom! It's ready to hit the newsstands. And then the European Parliament. Oh, we got another report about Serbia.
And who knows? In a couple of days, a video will be dropped. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
It'll probably be a deep fake. Hard to tell. A little grainy.
Right. Yeah.
It passes the smell test.
Yep. Yeah. That's right. So it's and of course there's Vucic, and then there's the other guy whom they're always targeting, the one in the Republika Srpska, which is Milorad Dodik. Dodik is about to secede. He's about to secede any moment. Secede. NATO has to be ready for
the more you torment him, the stronger he gets. They don't get it. They don't get it. Okay. The more they go after him, the more he secures his position. Okay. Watch it. Look at it over and over and over. Okay.
Yeah.
But see, George and I have discussed, unfinished business. Well, because it was so badly done against international law, against common sense, against any kind of sense of self-determination, and so they're grappling with a catastrophe that they forced on the people of the former Yugoslavia, and they're still trying to fix something that should have never been put into the first place.
Yeah. Because ultimately, what was the great crime of the Serbs? The Serbs didn't think that this illegal, violently enforced breakup of Yugoslavia was proper. They had no say in the matter. This was an illegal, violent breakup of Yugoslavia that the Western powers instigated, and then the Western powers immediately accepted as a fait accompli. The Serbs weren't happy with it because 3 million Serbs suddenly found themselves outside of their country. That was their great sin. But of course, again, the media presented as violently nationalist Serbs. No, they didn't like this breakup. Because you break up and you suddenly toss people out of their common home, they're not going to be happy.
They didn't like being bombed too, George.
They didn't like being bombed. And one has to say it again and again. Remember, the Resolution 1244, passed in 1999 by the UN Security Council, had stated that there can be no final constitutional settlement on Kosovo without the UN Security Council deciding the matter. You can't do it unilaterally. And gee, what happened? Again, the Western powers broke their word.
But didn't they have a referendum, George? Everyone says.
No, they did not have a referendum.
That is intentional misinformation. Well, there was a referendum after.
There was no referendum, and you couldn't do it. There was that Security Council resolution. And here's the thing, you again, just like at Minsk and everything else, you always break your word. You always break your word. It says there, that resolution, UN Security Council, no unilateral decisions on the final status. And you went ahead, with a unilateral decision on final status. But again, it's never said in the Western media. It's always, the Serbs, the evil Serbs, the horrible Serbs. Same with, like we talk about, Russia, about Minsk. I mean, hey, there was an agreement at Minsk, and you broke it. You had no intention of keeping it. That's the way the Western powers operate.
Well, George and I had to keep an eye. I mean, unfortunately, Serbia has a president that has very weak character. So again, this is another element of elite capture. There are people waiting in the wings, as George has pointed out, that will do the West bidding, again, completely against the will of the Serbian people. But that's how these people operate.
Right. Yeah. Vucic is afraid. I mean, he saw what they did to Milosevic. They could have killed Milosevic. I mean, it was touch and go after that color revolution, where the Milosevic would just be murdered there and then. I mean, it was only because there was some sort of a deal between the mob and the army that Milosevic's life was saved. I mean, that's why, in fact, he stepped down, because otherwise he would have just been killed. But just like Yanukovych, who just fled the country. I mean, otherwise his throat would have been cut. I mean, that there's no question. So I think, Vucic is afraid. Hey, they're going to do the same thing to me.
All the more reason to watch The Gaggle, because I can't think of a better expert on Serbia and the former Yugoslavia than our good friend here, George. And I mean that seriously, okay?
Thank you.
So, George, just keep me in the loop. We'll do as many as you want. We can do it step by step, because we're watching a colored revolution unfold in real time.
Exactly. Absolutely.
All right, everybody. This is Peter and George. We're The Gaggle. We're on Local, so please go to thegaggle.locals.com. Please, as our store. You'll see us tomorrow, and George has his first live stream of the week on Tuesday.
Exactly. So 3 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday on Locals. Come with comments, criticisms, and suggestions on the way out the door. Think about little buddy, because he's saying, well, I'm a pretty big guy, and then got a tip jar. You can't intimidate me too much. So I'm here with the tip jar. So dunk in your coins. So if you have a few bob in your pocket, whip him out, dunk him in his tip jar. That will keep him going. He's getting a little belligerent these days. So we're very grateful for all of your help and friendship and support. The more you're able to donate, the more of these videos we can make, the more we can improve on the technology, and above all, we can put Buddy into a happier frame of mind. It's getting harder and harder. So remember, if you like The Gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.